High in the frozen heart of the Himalayas, where oxygen thins and silence can break a man's mind, one creature rewrote everything we thought we knew about survival. The snow leopard, the ghost of the mountains, is built for vision, stealth, and speed. But in March 2022, a single blind leopard was discovered living where no blind predator should ever survive. What happened next would become one of the most extraordinary and emotional animal stories ever recorded. For centuries, locals called them the spirits of the peaks, elusive, almost mythical. Even seasoned wildlife photographers could spend years chasing a glimpse. To see one alive was a miracle. But what Tenzin Norbu, a photographer born among these mountains, captured that day went beyond miracle. It bordered on the impossible. Standing against the white blaze of snow, the leopard's eyes reflected nothing. Two pale spheres. No light, no life. Just silence. Every rule of biology said the same thing. A blind apex predator in this terrain should die within days. He cannot see prey, sense cliffs, or navigate storms. And yet, he was alive. Strong, lean, focused. As if the mountain itself had taken pity on him and taught him new ways to see. Scientists called it an impossible adaptation. Others called it a miracle of instinct. But for those who saw the footage, it was something deeper, the visible proof that life, in its purest form, refuses to surrender. He had turned blindness into mastery, fear into precision, and weakness into strength. Because this isn't just a story about a leopard. It's a story about the will to survive when survival should be impossible. A story that will make you question what's truly possible, not just for animals, but for us all. Tenzin Norbu was no tourist behind a camera. He was born in a Himalayan village where survival itself is an art form. His parents herded yaks through storms, and since childhood, he'd heard legends of the grey ghost, the snow leopard that appeared and vanished like smoke. He spent 15 years studying them, their paths, their habits, their silence. He thought he understood everything about them, until that day. The leopard he saw through his lens should not have been moving, yet he was slow, deliberate, every step a calculation. He turned his head toward Tenzin across the wind, as if aware of being watched, even though scent and sound were against him. Then, gracefully, he began to descend the rocks. Paw, pause, listen, move, every inch deliberate. There was no panic, only purpose. A chill crawled up Tenzin's spine. He realized he was not filming weakness. He was witnessing control. The king of these mountains, stripped of sight, was still moving like royalty. Something about it felt sacred, like watching nature refuse defeat. Tenzin's hands trembled as he filmed, not from the cold but from awe. He knew this footage would divide scientists and redefine what people believed about animal intelligence and adaptation, because what he was seeing went beyond instinct. It looked like learning. So what had this leopard discovered that we hadn't? What secret of survival was hidden inside those blind eyes? Stay with me, because when you learn how this animal endured the impossible, you'll never see your own limits the same way again. The footage spread across the scientific community like wildfire. Within days, research centers and wildlife foundations contacted Tenzin with the same question: "Are you sure he's blind?" The answer was yes. Every frame proved it. Eyes unresponsive to light, no reflection, no tracking, just stillness. Dr. Rajesh Kumar, one of Asia's foremost snow leopard experts, examined each frame in slow motion. No pupil movement, no eye tracking, corneal opacity identical to advanced cataracts. It wasn't speculation. This animal had lost sight completely. For a snow leopard, vision is everything. These cats live by ambush, stalking prey across cliffs where a single mistake means death. Without sight, even drinking from a frozen stream should be nearly impossible, and yet this one had survived for years. Physically, he was lean but stable. Muscles functional, coat thick, posture balanced. He wasn't starving, he wasn't lost, he was living. The question haunting every expert was simple. How? How does a blind hunter in a frozen desert find prey that can see, hear, and flee in seconds? Dr. Kumar launched a quiet expedition to find out. Trail cameras, long lenses, and zero interference. What they documented would challenge every assumption written in biology textbooks. The blind leopard no longer hunted by sight. He hunted by sound and vibration. His paws, wide and fur-padded, read tremors like sonar. He could sense movement hundreds of feet away, the rhythm of hooves, the difference between a step and a stumble. His hearing was extraordinary. In one clip, he turned sharply toward a marmot scratching rock nearly 2 football fields away. The human microphones barely caught it. He reacted instantly. But perhaps the most astounding discovery was mental. The leopard had built a 3-dimensional map of his territory, a memory made of smell, wind, texture, and sound. He navigated cliffs with the confidence of someone who could see in ways science still struggles to define. Researchers began using a phrase rarely applied to wild predators: neuroplasticity in the wild, the ability of a brain to rewire itself for survival. One frigid morning, cameras finally captured the leopard's full hunt. He was positioned upwind of his prey, seemingly the wrong place to be. His scent should have warned them instantly. But then Dr. Kumar noticed something extraordinary. The wind itself was his weapon. The constant roar of air masked his movements and kept the Baral herd facing the other way to shield their eyes from blowing ice. He was using the wind as sound camouflage. Step by step, he advanced, each motion measured, precise. His ears rotated constantly, mapping the terrain in invisible lines. When a young Baral strayed a few steps from the herd, the leopard froze, hearing the change before even moving. He waited. Not seconds, minutes, still as stone. Then came a strong gust. The herd flinched, turned their faces, blinded by the storm. That was his signal. He launched forward, a short burst, perfect timing, no hesitation. He collided exactly where the prey would be, guided not by sight, but by geometry. The rhythm of steps, the echo of space, the physics of sound. The impact was flawless. The herd scattered, their cries echoing against the valley walls. The predator held his kill and paused, scanning the ground with his paws, not to rest, but to read the landscape for danger. When he finally dragged the carcass away, he avoided certain patches of snow that later proved dangerously slick with hidden ice. Somehow he knew. Somehow he could sense it. The team watched in silence. They weren't seeing instinct. They were watching intelligence, adaptation born from desperation, evolution compressed into one living being. If this already feels unbelievable, stay with me, because the next discovery would push even science to its breaking point. Months later, after strict ethical approval, Dr. Kumar's team tranquilized the leopard briefly for a health check. The dart landed. Even blind, he flinched seconds before, as if he sensed it slicing the air. They worked quickly. Blood tests, scans, tissue samples, photographs. What they found told a brutal story. The blindness wasn't genetic or age-related. It was trauma. Beneath his fur, a deep scar curved above the right eye. Bone microfractures suggested a crushing impact. The pattern matched perfectly with an ibex horn. He had likely been struck in the head during a hunt, lost consciousness and awoken in darkness. That injury should have ended his life. But instead, it triggered something extraordinary, a neurological rebirth. Blood results showed low stress levels, unusual for a predator living under constant threat. His body had adapted, adrenaline balanced, energy conserved, calm but alert. He wasn't panicked, he was focused. Muscle analysis showed shifts toward endurance fibers, less explosive, more precise. His body was literally remodeling itself for his new hunting style. Brain imaging revealed heightened activity in the auditory and tactile regions, a clear sign of sensory rewiring. His mind had not given up. It had reinvented itself. Within minutes of waking, the leopard shook off sedation and walked away, confident, composed, disappearing into white silence once again. As Dr. Kumar noted later, we always thought survival was about strength. Now we're seeing it's about reinvention. Months of tracking revealed something deeper than biology, a series of lessons written in fur, ice, and instinct. Lesson 1. Start before you're ready. In his first months blind, he failed often. He targeted smaller prey, scavenged leftovers, learned the ground by touch. He didn't wait for perfection. He adapted through action. Lesson 2. Depth over distance. He reduced his territory to 1/3 the normal size, mastering every inch. Knowledge replaced power. Familiarity replaced dominance. Lesson 3. Choose peace over pride. He avoided fights with rival males, turning away from scent marks instead of confronting them. He understood that survival isn't about domination, it's about strategy. Lesson 4. Turn weakness into advantage. On moonless nights, when others lose their sight, he hunted with absolute confidence. For him, blindness erased no possibilities. It leveled the field. Lesson 5. Conserve emotion. When he lost prey, he simply stopped, adjusted, and tried again. No rage, no waste, only focus. That calm discipline may have saved his life more than once. Lesson 6. Accept help from unlikely places. He fed from carcasses left by wolves and storms. No ego, no shame, just wisdom. In nature, adaptability means knowing that opportunity matters more than pride. Each of these patterns revealed something profound. Limitations don't define capacity, they redefine the path. And just when everyone thought they had seen the limits of adaptation, the mountain had one. Last miracle left. In late 2024, trail cameras captured something no one expected. The blind leopard was not alone. A female had appeared beside him. Snow leopards are solitary. This was almost unheard of. Footage showed cooperation. She took visual leads. He detected hidden movement through sound. Together they hunted with synergy no textbook could explain. In one clip, the blind male growled softly, directing her attention toward unseen prey behind a ridge. Seconds later, they attacked, flawlessly, together. It wasn't charity. It was collaboration. Her eyes, his ears. Two survivors forming one perfect hunter. Weeks later, the female was seen with 2 cubs. DNA confirmed the impossible. The blind leopard was the father. His genes and his learned resilience were now part of the next generation. Dr. Kumar said it best. We've always defined fitness as strength, speed, sharp sight. But this leopard taught us another kind, the ability to reinvent when everything you rely on is gone. Even more, astonishing, the male stayed nearby, unusual behavior for the species. Cameras showed him dragging smaller kills near the den, perhaps to feed the cubs. Then came the footage that broke hearts. One cub followed the blind father along a snowy ridge, mimicking his slow, careful steps, pausing to listen, testing the ground before moving. It wasn't chance, it was learning. Knowledge was passing from one generation to the next, not through genes, but through culture. The blind leopard's way of surviving had become a legacy. Today, as you listen to this from the comfort of home, that leopard still walks somewhere above the clouds, hunting, surviving, teaching the mountains what endurance truly means. He doesn't know he's changed science. He doesn't know his story is inspiring millions. He only knows the sun will rise again, and with it comes another chance. Maybe that's the lesson hidden in his steps. We all face our own kind of blindness, loss, failure, uncertainty. When that moment comes, you can give up. Or you can do what he did. Breathe, feel, listen, and take the next careful step. Because survival isn't the absence of limits. It's what you build from them. And if a blind leopard can rewrite the rules of life at the roof of the world, what could you rewrite where you stand? If this story moved you, tell us in the comments, and subscribe for more real, emotional animal stories that prove nature's heartbeat stronger than fear. Until the next story, remember, your eyes may fail, but your will never has to.